Guys, Brass Facts and actually Hop here on my couch.
Actually Hop
here on my couch, drinking all my liquor. So, have you ever looked at something in the firearms industry and damn, I wish I bought that a year ago, 2 years ago. I wish I got in when it was good.
What if next time you actually bought it on time? What if you got in early for the next one?
That's kind of the premise of this video. We're in the middle of the Trump slump, and understandably, interest is at an all-time low. We just came off of 3 years of going hard in the paint with preparedness, with firearms purchasing, interest, and all that. And it makes sense to want to cool off a little bit, maybe even quit cold turkey. Hop and I have been through a number of these boom and bust cycles, and while there's nothing wrong with interests ebbing and flowing, especially with something like preparedness, which is, yes, a practical thing, but also very much a hobby, fun-based thing, there's some advice that I wish I gave myself the last 3-4 times something like this has happened, and as individuals that have been in the space for quite a while, well, I don't know, crack a beer and listen to us ramble.
So, you're approaching your 30s, your back hurts, video games and media seems increasingly less interesting, buying kitchen hardware and socks is now suddenly way more interesting than it used to be, and worst of all, one day you sort of woke up tired and it never really went away. I can't do anything about any of that, but I can help you at least buy some of those socks. Welcome to another Venture Surplus ad read. Socks, darn tough ones at that. That's actually what they're called. It's the name. They're on Venture Surplus right now. I bought a crap load of them because I need a lot of socks. Here's a pair of them that I fished out of the bottom of my socks pile covered in Nova hair. You can use BRASS10 coupon code to get 10% off, it's in the name, to get them now cheaper than ever to fill that ever-increasing void of being a mortal flesh bag with socks. This was the weirdest ad read I've ever done.
I'd say almost everybody who has been interested in firearms, shooting, buying guns, whatever, if they've been doing it for more than a couple of years, they've probably done that thing where they're like, I can't believe this is so expensive now. I should have bought this 2 years ago. And that's because prices go up and they go down or whatever. And it sucks to always find yourself on the up side where you're like, I really want to go shooting right now, but ammo's expensive. Oh, I really want that gun, but it used to be cheap 2 years ago. Now I can't afford it. Your timing might just be inverted. Maybe you need to sort of reset yourself, reset your cycle to where you are buying the thing nobody wants at the right times. 2 years ago, you were like, I can't believe ammo is so expensive. And 2 years before that, it was cheap like it is right now. Plan ahead, plan accordingly, as some of our favorite YouTubers would say.
That's the big reason why I own as much ammo as I do. It's not because I think the boog's going to kick off and I'm going through 15,000 rounds of 5.56. I'm making it through 200 rounds of 5.56. Why I own all this ammo is when times are tough, I want to be able to continue shooting at the rates or even a slightly reduced rate that I do right now. So I think the issue though is people are going to find themselves struggling to give a shit. And
when there's not that fire under your ass of like, things are bad, they're about to get worse, I better be ready, I better be stocked up. And if that incentive is taken away, you're like, oh, I'll just chill. I'll just buy some Helldivers 2 Warbucks. There's no way that you're like watching us and you don't kind of just like guns, just like in general, you like guns. And so this is the time where people have probably bought more guns than they thought they needed because they were concerned or whatever. People probably stocked up. Now is when people are probably going to be offloading hardware. And so I would say now is the time to get a good deal on something that you've always kind of wanted but didn't need. So, you're like weird projects. Like, you're working on something right now with involves the M14 platform. And like, man, not just you, no one has needed the M14 before we were born. So yeah, if you're like, I want something impractical, something stupid or whatever, something that you just enjoy, that'll keep you interested in the hobby space, now might be the time to increase your firearm spending, but it might not be.
We approach the firearms kind of hobby in a very different way. I think I'm a much more practical kind of guy. So my advice, literally the opposite. Like times like these, I find that my interest is at a low, and what rekindles my interest is kind of just recentering myself. So what I often do in these periods, and what I've been doing recently, I've been selling all my excess crap, right? So taking the projects that I haven't finished and just liquidating it, maybe even at kind of catastrophic loss, but get that out, do some spring cleaning, and then consolidate and feel kind of centered, feel squared away by having a number of just dead nuts solid setups that you've fully figured out. And that's not just a purchasing process. That means also taking it out and really getting happy with it. And I find when I do that, I feel happy, right? I look at my rifle, I'm like, I know this rifle works. I know it works at 400. I know it works at 200. I know it's reliable.
Psychologically, that can be really beneficial to be like, I've been chasing that dragon for a long time. I have all these irons in the fire, but the pressure's off a little bit, not permanently, not completely, but whatever, it's off a little bit. Now is the time to say, like, all right, I had been prepping for that DMR build. I'd been like slowly piecing it together, and now I'm like, do I need it? No, probably not.
Do I really need 5 different flavors of long range? No, I don't. And as much as I like this gun, when I got it, I'm like, this is the coolest capability ever. Now that I've reduced in interest, reduced in intensity, I can with a much clearer mind say, oh, I like this bolt gun. I don't also need a semi-auto 6.5 Creedmoor and a semi-auto 6 ARC and a bolt gun 6 Creedmour, right? And with that detached point of view, I can liquidate some of that and really consolidate on one solid setup. I think you said something to the effect of plink when times are good, don't when times are tough, right?
Yeah, this is the time. I think both of us have given this advice before, where it's like, every time you go to the range, if you're being serious about this, every time you go to the range, every round fired should have some data behind it. So like, either you're shooting paper and you're seeing the group, you're shooting on steel and you're hearing the impact, you are shooting on the timer, so you're drawing and reloading at speed, whatever. Like we're very, I think, we're on board with that idea of like every single round should improve your skill somewhat or tell you what you're doing wrong. But right now, I think ammo is as cheap as we're going to see it in our lifetimes. Like,
Yeah, what 9mm down to 20 cents a round almost, right?
Yeah, it's never going to get as cheap as it was, but it'll be cheaper than you've seen it lately. So now might be the time to have a fun range day. One of my favorite things, of course, is old handguns. And there's no practical application for these, 1980s, 1990s handgun designs. They're bigger, they're heavier, they shoot worse than a Gen 3 Glock, But I enjoy them, and it's what keeps me sort of passionate about the hobby, about the industry. So,
and I think
if you're struggling to like continue to enjoy guns when there's no pressure behind it, there's no fire under you, go shoot 22 long rifle. Go plinking, shoot clays with a shotgun. You know what? Bump fire.
Right
Fuck
into
it.
some trash.
Yeah.
As God intended.
I would never say that, but I'll say that. Bump fire.
This is the lesson I take away every time, because I do recall a time where I get a little tired of it, a little burnt out, and the thing that I always come back to is, man, I regret that I just stopped cold turkey and just burnt out. So doing fun stuff to keep you interested, even if it's not necessarily productive, is a useful thing, right? The comparison is working out. I still do a lot of climbing, and I injured myself, but I also got tired of climbing simultaneously, and so I stopped climbing for a bit, and I knew that I should at least climb once a week to kind of maintain that. I'm not trying to get better. I'm not even trying to not get worse. I'm just trying to reduce the rate of atrophy. And I was like, fuck that. And I took a 6-month break, and I got so pissed off when I got back because it was going to take many months to return to where I used to be. And with firearms, it's very much the same thing. If you quit cold turkey, especially from a preparedness, tactical perspective, from a financial perspective, right? If you just get pissed off and sell all your stuff, from a skills perspective, it's going to be you're going to spend a lot of money to return, likely where you are 6 months ago when you were, hot as shit off of COVID. I'm not saying have the force of will of a fitness influencer on Instagram that apparently wakes up at 2:30 in the morning every day and takes an ice plunge. Just force yourself to go shooting 2 times a week and drive 6 days out of 7. But try to do things that kind of reduce that slide of performance, that slide of routine. Just do it having a fun day where you're shooting and squeeze a little bit of drills in there. You're not trying to get better, you're just trying not to get worse or reduce the rate of getting worse. So I don't think the correct response in the face of reducing interest is double the fuck down, mind over matter, go 3 times a week instead of 2 times a week, right? Find some limbo here, right? Because this is going to be common, right? For every gun scare, there is just as much time where interest is at rock bottom, and kind of find your feng shui, find your center of where you have a much more sustainable way of going forward. So I think that's just kind of a lot more offhand than the typical brass facts nonsensical ramble. It's now a Brock and Hop nonsensical ramble. But I think we'll call it here. There is no real call to action here, just kind of 2 dudes that have been doing this for a while, and advice we wish we gave ourselves back in the past, and maybe you can get something out of this. If you kind of enjoyed this, we do this on our Subscribe Star, which is essentially Patreon, where you can watch the Brock and Hop Power Half Hour. It's the exact same format as this, except the topics are worse, like Battletech, our recent gun shooting trip, and how we are terrible shooters and should quit this and we'll do literally anything else. All of the above, and you can listen to it. And also support us at the same time, because we do like money.
It's all right.
You're so strong.